mentioned the very thing I look at, and that's risk. And any event that we have that we don't break even on, that makeup theoretically comes out of contingency funds that would otherwise be spent on media to try to bring tourism to your River Springs. So it's difficult. I mean, you know, if you say I'm going to do it 6 or 7 times a year, you're going to have to set aside a reserve fund to cover the fact that you may not sell enough tickets to make it.
Yeah, that's the same.
If you get a promoter to do it like you say, you don't have that risk. So,
You say that's what we need to do is get a little stable of promoters. You've been here for 3 years. How come you haven't done that? We were trying to do that
But
5
we
years
have to
ago,
now.
8 years ago. We've been working on getting outside promoters, and when we can't, we have our own budget and we keep shows going. We do what we need to do to make it succeed and to have traffic there. Nothing's changed in the last 10 years except the fact that we don't do anything anymore. And you've had 3 years to get some promoters there and get things happen, but you've been trying to back out. You're backing out of the auditorium because it's the only vestige. I can say what I want to say. It's the last vestige of actually having to work. And that's the problem with all of you.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
I'd like to say something. This is a performance summary for the last year that Sally promoted things. So supposedly we had very good promotion and marketing and all of that. And this is a breakdown show by show of the percentage of tickets sold. And there were quite a few shows that the percentage of tickets sold was just not that much. I have some extra copies of this, and I'd be willing to pass them around for whatever information you might glean from it. Back to that, the auditorium has a lot of events in it. We have a lot scheduled for in 2008, 9, 10, and 11, but we have a lot of community events. The auditorium is the heart of the community. One of the reasons why I even took the position was because I love the facility. I've sung in there with the Ozarks Crowd for many years, and the facility itself is a very, very fine building. It is probably never going to be a place where people come from miles around, even though the acoustics are great, all of that. It is a place for the community to perform. And there's a lot of that happening. Yeah, every school performance, the chorale, there's plenty going on in there. So it's just not. It's just not the big name acts, I think, that everybody is thinking has to be in there. But if the auditorium can be utilized for what it is and appreciated for what it is, that's a whole different story. Which one? Those are the calendars of events, and I only have the one copy. These are some performance summaries.
I'd like to see those after you're back.
Any other questions about the operation of the auditorium? That was the original intent of the meeting, really, management of the auditorium. We talked about how to use the auditorium really. We talked about also during the budget process. This was really to help Beverly and the rest of the commission understand what it takes to operate the.
Well, I even went so far as to Ms. Butch. Before it was renovated, Eureka Theater, and the school, choir, and all these other things, we were always doing stuff in there. And then we spent all these zillions getting it renovated. And I asked him why. And I asked him because he's knowledgeable about that stuff. I asked him why we couldn't go ahead and turn off the heat and air when it's not in use.
We do.
Put money, I mean, totally, like it used to be. Put money aside, and every 5